Hello and welcome to Swinging the Drive, the Toronto Blue Jays fancast. James is pretty down on Bichette right now, and I'm trying to talk him off the ledge. I'm really down on Springer right now, and we talk about that a little bit. Is that the real problem, or is it the pitching? Let's find out on this episode of Swinging the Drive.
Swinging a drive. Get up, bar. He's done it again. A two-run shot in the first.
Before we get going, I would like to ask everybody to like and subscribe, stay up to date on all future Swing and Drive content. James, how you doing today?
I'm better than I was 2 days ago.
Aren't we
That's
all?
for sure.
We all? It's a new day. We got a new game.
Yeah. Hope springs
However,
eternal.
We are facing Atlanta. So, on the edge of my seat.
Oh yeah, nothing is easy for the next little while. That's for sure.
Yeah, but the schedule is getting pretty real. So, Jay's got to get back on track.
Yes, and to get back on track, fundamentals. Let's just
fundamentals.
Fundamentals. Okay, let's talk about Little League here. Let's talk about Little League baseball a little bit. Like, what do you do in Little League baseball? What's the first thing you learn how to do in baseball? What's
You're
the first
dick.
What's the
You're
first
a dick.
skill? What's the first skill you learn in baseball?
All right, look. He's only made 4 errors this year. You can't really get too mad at him.
Yeah, you
can. Also, what else are you gonna do?
No, you're not wrong there. Okay.
Right? He's a shortstop. This is the realization I came to after coming down from watching him throw the game away. Because that, don't get me wrong, frustrating as hell.
Oh, yeah.
But it's only his 4th error. He's definitely doing better on the error front. It happened at a big time. But he's a shortstop. He's going to be the shortstop for the rest of the year. He's going to be shortstop for at least 3 more years.
Maybe.
Everybody wants it to be more than that. He's not playing a different position.
Well, that's the thing, though. So, like, you have to at least entertain that concept. He didn't have so he doesn't really have the arm for the position. And you can see that with metrics. I was reading about it in I don't know who writes Jay's journal, if it's a fan or if it's somebody associated with the team, right. Other media. But the stat they brought up was he's in the the 40th percentile, maybe 60th, something like that in arm strength. And I don't want to bitch about arm strength and all of that. What I would like to bitch about Bo is how he throws a baseball. Like, when you're doing just regular, just nonsense toss back and forth, you can do this thing. Lots of baseball players do it where they kind of just do like a little flick, right? It's not an over the top full motion. It's a little like bleep, little flip. Vladdy does it when he's throwing the ball from first. He comes really low. So if you watch that play from Bo on the throwaway at the end of the game, sorry about the loudness. You can see Trey Turner's helmet in the path, and nothing wrong with Trey Turner there. I know they challenged it for an illegal slide, I think, or something like that, but nothing wrong with that. But Bo's hand, you can see it as he's doing this low throw. If he would have let go of the ball at the normal part of the throw, he would have bounced that ball right off Trey Turner's helmet to wherever. So naturally, his instinct just to hold it a little longer to clear the helmet. But by doing that, mechanically, the throw was off, and that's why the throw missed the target. He held on to it a little longer to avoid Trey Turner's helmet. If he throws over the top like Matt Chapman, that is a non-issue. For a guy who's sliding in, you're not going to have an issue hitting that guy in the helmet. That's my piece on Bo. I think that he should work on some throwing fundamentals, and he will be better for it.
I think you're super ragging on him for one really bad throw. I watched the video last night again a few times in slow-mo, and really there's no clearance issues with Trey Turner at all. He just made a bad throw. Straight up bad throw. It happens. It sucked. Terrible time for it to happen, obviously. But what are you going to do about it? Move on.
You're gonna practice.
Move on. Oh, and I guarantee he's out there doing it.
Gonna learn how to
He's
throw
the
a
kind of
ball.
guy that'll be out there working on it.
Yeah.
But that's just, that's the way he throws. He's a drop down guy, always has been. So you're not going to change that. He's not going to all of a sudden start throwing over the top. It's a tough one, because I was with you yesterday. I was fully with you on this. Like, fuck Bo, get him out of there. I'm so sick of the errors.
I don't need to do any of that.
Clear head. He is what he is. This is what we get at shortstop. Whether it's good or not, I don't know.
No, I would refuse to accept that.
What are you going to accept? What are you going to accept? There's no other option. There's no other shortstops, dude.
You absolutely can put other people there until he figures the position out.
Who are you going to put there?
You can play Santiago
You're going to bring up
Espinal
Otto Lopez and take Bo Bichette out of the lineup?
You're not going to ever take Bo Bichette out of the lineup, but you're going to put Bo Bichette at second base until he learns how to throw a baseball. Like, you can do that kind of thing.
No. That's never going to happen.
What's the incentive for Bo Bichette to get better if he knows that his position is completely, the only thing is Bo Bichette needs to be best because
his incentive is to win.
He's Bo Bichette.
He knows.
He's a competitive guy. So that's it. I've said it a bunch of times on previous episodes when I say the words loosey-goosey throws. That's what I mean by a loosey-goosey throw is that kind of throw. So yes, he's cleaned up.
It's his style of play, and the unfortunate thing about Bo Bichette is the good thing about Bo Bichette. He's going to be him.
Yeah,
there's no changing him. Unfortunately, he is apparently in that regard uncoachable. There is no changing what he does. So the Jays have accepted it. That's what we get. I got to think about it that way, or I'm going to pull all my hair out.
I mean, yeah, maybe. We talked about it a bunch of times already about accepting. We've covered it on previous episodes too. Like, knowing that because he's such a great offensive talent, that we're like, oh yeah, and I've said it too. I'm willing to accept the errors for the hitting. But that doesn't mean I don't.
Right now, because the trade-off is 4 errors to this ridiculous hitting streak.
What he's been doing, yeah. But that doesn't mean I don't want him to work on that. And if I were to find out that like he was like, nah, this is how I throw, and I'm going to throw some away. But because I throw like this, I'm going to make errors. And instead of, I could clean up the errors. As Bo Bichette being the competitive guy that he is, he thinks to himself, I could clean up those errors by throwing over the top more often. Or
I would argue that he has cleaned up the errors.
Oh, he's doing a good job.
He committed 24 errors last year. By now he had 6 last year already.
It's a better pace. Yeah.
So, that puts him on pace for 20 instead of 24.
Yeah.
I just think that everybody is quite upset to see him throw it away to end a game, right? No one ever wants to see that.
The end result of it, yeah.
You can't expect a guy to never throw a ball away, no matter how he throws the ball.
Oh,
there's not a single guy that
throws balls away.
Exactly.
We've seen him Chapman throw balls away. Yeah.
So there's no guy that's perfect over there.
No.
You can't ask for perfection.
No, you can't.
So I just think that the situation really sucked. It got a lot of people fired up, me included, at the time. I was quite distraught for several hours.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were going to the 11th inning, but then I sat back and I thought about it, and I was like, he rushed a throw. That could have happened in the middle innings. We wouldn't be talking about it right now, but because it happened when it did, it's a topic to talk about.
It is a topic.
I think the more prudent topic is, why were we in the 10th inning to begin with?
Well, let's agree to disagree on where we stand on Bo and talk about why we were in the position we were in going into extras.
14 sliders is the reason. 14 sliders.
Yeah, it was insane.
Jordan Romano threw 16 pitches, 14 of them sliders. The second slider that Real Muto saw, he whacked it.
Yeah.
Give me a break. He
Yeah.
stood there and watched whatever it was, 10 sliders be thrown before that. Clearly he's sitting slider. What are we doing, Jordan Romano?
You can't
Throw
be a
that
one.
97.
You can't be a
You're
one.
not a
trick
one
pony.
pitch dude.
Yeah.
You're not Mariano Rivera. Okay?
Yeah.
If they know the slider's coming, they're gonna bang it. I just don't understand.
Well, and
I don't
he
understand.
left a lot of those pitches in very hittable spots. When you like, there was a lot of missed spots. So if you're throwing 14 sliders in a row and several of them are hanging in the middle of the plate,
like, it's not a bullpen session. You're not trying to fix your slider by throwing 14 in a row. You missed 3. Okay, chuck a couple heaters in there, man. 97. Let's go.
So we had Jano catching, right? He was
Jano catching, yeah.
Now, normally I'd be like, he catches a pretty astute game. What do you think he was being waved? Was Romano shaking him, or was he calling that?
I think so, yeah. Like, let's really, when you get down to it, pitchers call the game. Pitchers don't throw a pitch they don't want to throw.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So, the catchers can call the game, but the pitchers don't throw a pitch they don't want to throw. So if Jansen could be calling 100 fastballs, he didn't come out and say, hey, we're throwing a goddamn fastball right now. So he clearly didn't think it was that important, and continued to let him throw sliders in there.
Yeah.
But it's on both of them. I'm not going to say that it solely rests on Romano's shoulders for throwing so many sliders, but
sure, but it's mostly Romano.
It's mostly Romano.
Yeah,
and he's in love with that slider. He's married to the slider. He wants to throw it all the time.
Yeah,
but now everybody knows that.
Yeah,
so
they can sit on that for a bit. Yeah,
or you just lay off of it.
Lay off of it,
if he's trying to throw it for a swing, you just lay off. If he's trying to throw it for a strike, you sit on it and whack your double.
Well, and they think about how easy it is as a hitter if you know that pitch is coming, and so if it starts like near your belly button for height, you're like, that's great. That's going to be like right in the right hitting zone by the time it gets to me. I know it's going to be a slider anyway. Yep. I'm swinging at this, but if it starts a little bit low, like
worst case, you get sawed off or something like that. Oh man!
And then if it starts at the bottom of the strike zone anywhere, you're like, I can lay off this without even thinking about it. So
and the hitter is Real Muto, who's the catcher, who sees these sort of things, like calls games, calls a good game. So he knows what's going on.
Yeah, just wait for that slider.
So I think, sure, Bo's error was not awesome, obviously. Game over. But if Romano threw a couple of fastballs, maybe we're not playing in the 10th inning, and it's not even a question.
Agreed. I was frustrated by that. Yep.
And then Mayza comes out. Mayza did a good job. Mayza did everything right. Did the best he could. He
has an amazing ERA.
Please don't put that in. Please edit that out of this video.
No way, that's going in. It just came to me.
It's nice to see him kind of getting on track. I don't know. I feel like he's one of those guys too, where you just kind of cross your fingers and hope for the best when he comes out on the mound. It's been more consistent lately.
He's had a good year. He's got a really good ERA. He's had just a couple of I think there was a couple early on bad results Didn't get the outs that he needed and all that kind of thing. But
Yeah. So
overall,
it's looking good overall, right? Yeah.
he's been decent for sure. I wish there was a little bit more lefty bullpen support. There is none, right? Is he
It's
the
him.
only one?
It's him.
Like,
Yeah.
why do we always have this situation? This
Oh,
feels
because
like we.
Trevor Richards is so good at getting lefties out. And Adam Simber is also very good at getting lefties out.
I see.
And I say that like sarcastically, but I mean they are. Their numbers do
Right.
say that, right? But I agree. Like you can't just rely on a righty that's good at getting lefties out to get lefties out because it's not always going to be the case.
No.
Like I'm not putting Richards or Simber against Bryce Harper. Are you?
No.
Mayza's your only option
I mean, I might
out of the
think about
bullpen.
it. I might just think about a guy like that too, is just like who's throwing a ball well. If there's a pitcher that's throwing the ball well, are you going to matchups all the time? Like, I don't want to say that. As we talked about this, like we could talk about Schneider right now, I guess, because it's a pretty good spot to jump in there. Like, I don't
Yeah,
want
it
to bitch
sort of
about.
fits.
I don't want to bitch about like the decisions on pitching too much because there's a lot of matchup stuff that you just go by the numbers and it usually works out. So I don't want to rag on him too much for that. But like there are some decisions. Maybe we shouldn't go off of pitching just yet. I'm going to stay on pitching for a second.
I am going to rag on him a little too much for that
For
because
the pitching stuff. Okay.
for the numbers, for the too much numbers and too much matchy stuff.
Okay.
I think they're kind of getting into what happened with the Rays kind of last year, and there's just too much analysis, way too much analysis.
Right.
So much that we're not watching the game on the field as it's unfolding. And instead of using your eyeball and your gut to make a decision, you're using like maybe 10% gut and eyeball and 90% numbers from the past. And baseball, we're the worst for that. We're going to play people defensively like for the numbers because overall they play out, but you can get beat so many times.
Yeah.
So many times.
Yeah.
So
it's that old Clint Eastwood movie where he's a scout. Is it called The Scout?
awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the movie that you're referring to.
He's like a washed up old scout and he finds these pitcher and he's like this guy. He can hear the snap of the glove when the pitcher.
Trouble with the curve.
The trouble with the curve. The trouble with the curve. That's what it was. And I like he's this old school, like you can hear the snap of the glove and you can tell that pitcher has it, or the way a ball hits a bat. You're like, oh, that sounded right. Like there's certain levels of that might be excessive level of whatever made upness, but I think that goes to your gut and your intuition and all of that thing about what's happening in baseball. And I think there's a place for it. For sure.
Yeah. And I think you've seen Schneider make decisions based on what's going on and make good decisions. And then he does something like what we both hated the other day and pulls out Varsho and puts in Springer to hit when Springer is sick. Yeah,
Springer's
numbers
sick.
The numbers say Springer is better in this situation. Yes,
he's sick and cold.
He's sick. Like
he's not good.
He looked like the Walking Dead coming up to the plate.
Yeah, he looked like.
I've never seen a dude look. He looked like if he swung too hard, he might just throw up on the home plate. And then John Boy would have had a throw up video to put on.
He did. He looked like, why am I out here?
Oh man! And then he took that first swing, and I was just like, why? Put someone else in right now. Just
so this is like
down 0-1.
This is the hot hand, right? You're like, this is one of the hottest hitters in baseball over the last 2 weeks. Varsho crushes a ball all the way out of PNC Park into the Allegheny River, and then gets pinch hit for.
So
because he's a lefty. I'm sorry.
Schneider commented on it this morning on Blair and Barker.
Okay.
And he one thing you got to give the guy, he will tell you why he did things and what they were trying to accomplish.
Oh, okay. What was this explanation?
So that's cool. Well, they, like he said, they were playing the numbers. He said they probably are rarely ever going to pull Varsho out of the situation. But the righty lefty, Springer, whatever, all the things said this is the time to do it. So they went for it. Trying to get a hit, trying to play for contact, just move guys over and stuff, right? So I get it. I get why they did it. But at the exact same time, I'm like, that dude's sick.
Yeah, it takes
You can't bring him in right now. He's certainly if he wasn't sick and he was actually hitting like George Springer can do, but hasn't been doing it all season. Yeah, do it. Game's probably over. We probably go up 2 runs or something. But in the current situation, like read the situation.
Yeah.
Varsho's hitting well.
It was the
and
7th
Springer
inning.
is ill.
It was also the 7th inning. So you took that defense out of your lineup, and then when you pinch hit for Belt two batters later, that like the whole way that they had to change their defensive alignment because of the 2 pinches. And I don't really care about the Belt pinch. That was fine. I was okay with in that spot.
That's me making good
Pinch
sense
hitting,
too. But
pinch hitting
the
a
problem
DH.
is that you use the 2 guys that are the coldest on your bench right now to pinch hit with too.
Yeah,
which is a little frustrating.
Yes, agreed. I've been worried about Kirk so much.
He's just got such a pure swing.
That's the thing that's baffling me about the swing. Like,
his timing's just off.
It's such a crazy. He's pounding a ton of balls. Like he's on top of a lot of baseballs.
Well, the league's figured it out, right? Like he's getting that curveball down and away, everybody, and he rolls it over every time.
So like what they did to Vladdy in his 2nd year, where they started getting more 3rd year. Then they started getting more,
but
more chase
like the league adjusts,
outside.
right?
Yeah.
Like people started noticing. You make it to the All-Star game, and people are like, "Oh, I guess he's a dude to watch." And then they watch him, and now they got a book on him, and then they go, "Wow, curveball down and away. He's going to chase it, and he's going to roll it over." And guess what? Pretty much every time. So against Philly, that's what they did to him every time.
His big thing was that he can just naturally. He's always been able to hit anywhere he's gone, any level he's gone. Are we talking like, does he have any deficiency in pitch recognition, any of that kind of thing that's happening? Or do we think it's purely just timing?
I think it's timing. I think really it's just timing. That's all I can see. I'm not a hitter. I was never a hitter. I sucked at hitting, quite frankly. But he just looks off. He just looks a little bit off. That's why he's getting out in front of those balls and rolling them over instead of just fouling them off like he should be. He's to get himself to a better pitch, right?
He's a line drive hitter. That's the way.
He's a line drive guy.
Yeah,
he's a line drive guy.
Yeah,
he's going to hit a lot of doubles, but not if he doesn't get the timing down a little bit and figure out how to hit that curveball away or lay off the curveball,
or how to lay off that curveball,
or foul it off and get to a better pitch count, like that so he can get a heater and drive it. So
how long do we need? How long do we talk about for?
I don't know.
Timeline.
I wouldn't be talking about it this long. He should have had time. Now. So that's the problem, right? Like that. I don't know. I don't know what you do.
Where's Martinez? Where's Victor? Like I know he was just there as short term with the spring training, but like, is it his approach? Because
well, maybe we'll see. Maybe when we get back, maybe now that we're back at home, we got a nice 10-game homestand. I think some of those kind of auxiliary coaches might be there. So you never know if Victor Martinez could be there, and that could help. That could help. Somebody to talk to. But I don't know. I don't know what you do with Kirk, really.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You can't. Well, he's got options. He's got 3 options. So they just signed Heineman.
He does, but
they just traded for Heineman there. So
and he's a serviceable catcher. Like Heineman is.
He can catch
a game. He can call a game. He can catch. He can throw guys out.
I'm pretty sure he's a lefty bat, isn't he? Too?
And he's a lefty bat. So I know But they're thinking that. They're obviously thinking that, and that's why they've made this move.
Like
They're clearly
Kirk,
concerned about Kirk.
Kirk, sort it out,
But
bud.
but the other thing is like last year when Kirk wasn't hitting, Jano was hitting. Now this year, right now, especially, they're both not hitting.
Not really hitting. Yeah.
So you're not getting any production out of your catcher.
Yeah.
And then you can't even DH Kirk. We're DHing Belt because Belt's pulled his average up to 224. Like, I know he still doesn't have 100 at bats yet, but
oh yeah, that was a question. That was a thing that I noted. They were talking about in the broadcast about, oh, Brandon Belt. He's really started to figure it out. Things are
that's
coming
why
into
he's able to
form.
pull his average up so much
It's
with
about
2 good games.
It's about 32 games into the season or 30 games into the season, and I went, just think about that for a second. If you were around for the 32 games of spring training and you had most of these at bats under your belt already when the season started, maybe it'd only
Yeah.
take you a week of the season to start hitting like that. And maybe right now you'd be hitting 350.
Right.
6
So
home runs.
he's still only got 77 at bats.
There you go. Yeah.
And he's brought himself up to 220.
Yeah.
So Springer is hitting 209 in his 140 at bats, 139 at bats.
Right.
I'm starting to buy what Brandon Belt is selling, I think. We'll see over this homestand.
Yeah, he's slowly getting better. I'm not gonna put him on the first bus out of town right now.
Frankly, he's the best option to start at DH. And I remember distinctly a couple of weeks ago saying this guy's not a starter.
Yep, we both said it.
So I don't know if that's really cause for concern or just cause to be happy that Brandon Belt's coming around a little bit and helping out.
Well, after last week, when everybody wasn't hitting according to us, to have anybody
Nobody can hit.
figuring it out, yeah, to have anybody from the left side especially that's figured it out.
Well, and then the other
from
side,
Kiermaier.
like you got to give Nola and Wheeler some credit. They're good pitchers, and they held the Blue Jays bats at bay, right? Like
Pretty in check, yeah.
like they held them in check, and
although we had runners in scoring position, I think it was
yeah,
9 times in the last game that we
dude.
didn't cash in again. So I
Back to the old tricks of
I went looking for
not scoring.
I went looking for our runners in scoring position statistics that for the team, and I did not find it when I was looking. So that's one I would love to see us compared to the league, because I think we are dead last. I would assume we are dead last.
I don't think we can possibly be dead last because Oakland Athletics are very, very bad.
The
They're very
Oakland
bad.
Athletics are in the league.
They're very, very bad. Yeah. Yeah. We can never be dead last at anything because the Oakland Athletics are in the American League.
I guess we'll see. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Swing and a Drive. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you made it this far, clearly you should be doing
like and
that.
Subscribe.
Yeah. Anyway,
go Blue Jays.
We really appreciate you guys sticking around and going on the ride with us. We're learning how this all works and getting better as we go. So keep checking back for more content, and go Blue Jays, go. Right on.
Let's go Jays.